yeah. So, because I was thinking about when because I met you at the LA Comedy Club.
Yep.
Yeah. But I haven't seen you at the new one.
I haven't been. So, Brady Matthews is one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And so Brady now is down in Florida. And so I just haven't been as much. But hit me up, bro. I'm down.
You know what? Funny that you bring that up. Next week, I just seen it right now because I knew that I was booked already. But I looked. Brady's with me at the new Strat.
Bet I'll be there.
Yeah, dude. It's the new room is crazy. It's completely different from when you went because it was upstairs in that little dark ass room. Yeah, dude, where it's like the next to the fuck me shop. Yeah. And then can you hear him with the?
Bring the microphone closer to you. There we go.
Is that better?
Oh, so much better.
Okay, cool.
So, but yeah. So, I was gonna say, yeah. So definitely come out. We'll take care of you and all that shit.
Maybe we could hit Atomic Golf afterwards too. I've been wanting to go to that. It's right there by the Strat.
Yeah. There's I haven't been to it yet either. And then there's something else too that they got over there because they redid everything like that. It's dope now. It's making it come out, especially too with the I don't know what you would call it, the new structure, so people could take pictures by it, the whole Las Vegas thing.
Oh, yeah, that they spent, a ton of money on. And yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then, so Brady's your boy, and then is that how you started, watch more comics or coming out to comedy shows?
Yeah, so I moved out to Vegas in August of 19, but going to comedy shows is one of my favorite things to do. I used to, when you would go on dates and stuff, you can find out a lot about a person by what they laugh at and where their sense of humor is. And so that was always my go-to, and I've just befriended a lot of comedians like you and Brady and stuff over the years, and there's few things in life that still bring me joy at this point, and going to comedy shows is one of them. So.
Brady's hella funny because I like watching him because he's super ADD too, and he just and then he just goes off, and I just like to see what the hell the story's gonna go, where is it gonna go, and what kind of voice is gonna come out of him or something like that. It's always just entertaining to watch Brady go at it.
For sure, yeah, and he's such a good guy too, and a good dad, and he's just one of my favorite people.
Sure. Maybe he might come on when he's in town now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because he's out here. I think he's out here for a week.
Because he's also a great artist too. A lot of people don't know that the paintings that he has are still in the Strat.
So that Brady did a one-of-one Jerry Maguire piece for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's hanging up in my office. Yeah, I'll shoot you a picture.
Jerry Maguire, because you are
sports agent.
Yeah,
NFL agent. Yep,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then speaking of all that too, man, it's before we get into that, where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from Northern Virginia, about 20 miles south of D.C. Mm-hmm. I did my internship with Comedy Central back when I graduated undergrad a long time ago. And it was I really wanted to be like Ari Gold from Entourage. I wanted to rep movie stars and all of that. It was full swing Entourage. I wanted to be Ari Gold so bad. And so I was let me get any kind of entertainment internship, and so I got this entertainment internship with Comedy Central, and they were super cool, but it was before they had all this program television and stuff. So it was actually, there was the president of the network at the time was a guy named Tony Fox, and he was super cool. He used to let me sit in on all the meetings when they were developing shows and stuff, and that helped me get a job in the mailroom at a talent agency out in L.A., and so I moved out to L.A., and I lived in L.A. for 12 years before I moved out here in August of 19. So,
okay. Hustling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then, did you ever play?
Football?
Yeah.
No, I never, I played a year of Pee Wee, but I always played baseball.
Oh, okay.
And, I played varsity baseball as a freshman, and we had to sign contracts because the football coaches were trying to get me to play. And we had to sign contracts because I was a starting catcher, and they were like, if you want to start, you aren't going to play football because we can't risk you getting hurt.
Yeah.
And, I played in a band back in the day and stuff. And so, I got more focused on music because it got, real political. It's oh, well, this kid's dad's construction company built the dugout, so even though he sucks, he's going to play. And
yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna.
You got an early taste of it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny because I played the same thing. I played baseball more than I played football. I played football maybe for a year, and then I was I'm cool. And then I got in all kind of other shit. But
that's how it works.
Yeah, and then but no, I was gonna say it's so. And then so what brought you into the football NFL agency thing? That's so interesting to me too.
So it's actually a pretty kind of weird story. So I worked at a talent agency for a long time. I moved out at the beginning of the writer's strike when people were getting fired. And so
The recent one or the one with the
no, the older, like in 2008, 2009.
when like the Heroes was like, I remember when Heroes came out, the
When
show
Movie Star still existed.
Yeah, and that second season, everything you could tell that the writers were gone. Yeah.
So I eventually, I floated for a year, and then they offered me a job in music, and I was like, well, I played in bands, I booked my band all the time. Yeah, let's do it. I just got to get the fuck out of the mailroom. And so I was doing that for a while. And this was like MySpace days.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Wiz Khalifa hadn't really popped yet. And so I was like on Wiz Khalifa, and I remember he was playing the El Rey, and I went with me and probably like 8 of my boys. They hooked us up. We were backstage hanging out with those dudes and shit. Next day I get called into the head of music's office, who the guy's dead now anyway. But he was like, what the fuck are you doing? Because I had a meeting. They were supposed to come in. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Trying to sign people. I was like, well, I'm not trying to be an assistant my whole life, man. I want to be an agent, and we have one hip hop act that I think that this guy could be a cornerstone.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't give a fuck. This guy's not going to sell any records. And I'm like, well, look, man, we don't make money on record sales. We make money on ticket sales. And this guy's, selling 20,000 tickets a night on a college tour. What, it costs us no extra money. What are you, he's like, don't ever do this again and you're fired, blah, blah, blah. So at that point, it's like, I'm like, I don't know, 24, 25 years old. That's completely defeating. You're telling me you don't want to see me grow. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, I talked to my mom. My mom's like my best friend. I call her my manager. You know what I'm saying? And so I talked to her, and she was like, well, you love football. You know a lot about football. Why don't you figure out how to become a football agent? And I was like, okay, whatever. And so she found this class called Sports Management Worldwide. That's it sounds like Step Brothers type shit. Uh-huh. But they do offer a platform for people to explore different avenues of the sports world. And so they were doing a summit thing out at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. And so I went, and it was cool. They had Adam Schefter speak, and I met some people out there, but no one that could really do anything to kind of help further my career. And so the night before I was supposed to leave, it's snowing out. I don't really have snow clothes because I'm living in LA now. Yeah. And I'm sitting in a bar by myself, eating some wings, drinking a beer, and I grew up a big New York Giants fan. And so I had messaged Mike Garafolo, who Mike Garafolo now is Fox Sports 1. He's like the guy. Yeah. So at the time, he was working for the Newark Star-Ledger. And so I just messaged him on Facebook, shot in the dark, hey, bro, I'd love to buy you a beer and talk some football if you're out here, blah, blah, blah. So I'm at this bar. I'm on the phone with my mom, this sucks. I didn't really do anything. I feel like I just spent the money to come out here and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, I get this message from Mike Garafolo, hey, bro, what are you doing right now? Come over to this steakhouse. I want to introduce you to some people. I'm like, shit, should I go? My mom's like, yeah, go.
Get the fuck out. Yeah.
And I went over there, and it was Mike, Ian Rappaport, who is, one of the biggest in the game, and a bunch of different beat writers. And there was a guy who was an agent, a smaller agent based out of New York. And I kind of talked my way into a position with him. I was out on the West Coast. He didn't have anyone on the West Coast. And so I kind of talked my way into a position with him, and that's really how I got started. And that was in 2010, which was when they had the players holdout. So I got hit with another strike, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, funny enough, my first ever NFL client was a guy named Eddie McGee, I ended up, as soon as the strike, I can remember, he played a bowl game out in Arizona. I remember I was out at the bowl game with him. He caught a ball and he was a quarterback that converted to wide receiver. And he caught a ball and he was running up the side. I'm running up the side, yeah, bro, let's go. And he ends up after the draft comes and goes, they shut it down because they're the strike's going on. We can't communicate, blah, blah, blah. As soon as it was lifted, I had been talking to probably 8 teams. And because back then you didn't have to be a certified agent. I could do things and it wasn't as big of a deal.
Oh, okay.
And I got him onto the practice squad with the Raiders. And funny enough, as time would have it, Eddie now is still one of my good friends. Mm-hmm. He works for the Raiders in their video department. Okay. And does a lot of I think their social media and does a lot of the videos and stuff that you see. And he lives out here. And it's crazy because I hadn't talked to, we were cool, but okay, so in 2012, the NFLPA passed a rule where you had to be a certified agent, and you had to get a law degree or a master's degree to even sit for the exam. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, I'm like, man, fuck, I'm 30 years old. I don't feel like going back to school, whatever, Yeah. And, I kind of let it fall by the wayside. Eddie ended up hanging it up after maybe I want to say he was with the Raiders for 2 or 3 years. And we were still cool because he's actually from D.C.
Okay.
So I ended up moving back to Virginia for a year when I was trying to figure out what I want to do with my life at that point, because I didn't want to, I didn't want to go back to school to become an agent. I didn't want to still deal with the Hollywood bullshit. You don't make no money in that. And so I went back home for a year, and it was really probably the most trying year of my life. You know what I mean? And it really it was a tough year, but it was crazy because he was back there at the same time, kind of trying to make the same transition because he's from D.C. And, then for whatever reason, we just fell out, didn't talk for a while. And then it was either a year or 2 years ago, I was out, you might know. So it was when the Raiders were playing the Rams, when Baker got signed to the Rams.
Oh, for that off the
Thursday night game.
Oh, dude, they fucking yeah.
So I was out there. I have a client that's on the Rams, and so I was out there for that. And I'm, if you've been to the new Rams stadium, it's beautiful, but it's a pain in the ass to get around.
I haven't been yet, and I want to go because I hear that everyone says that it's great. They say that and the Legion Stadium are right now the two best.
It's an incredible stadium, but the way that so I had field passes. I'm on the field, but they're I could have walked right up a set of stairs and got right to my seat, but they're oh no, you got to go this way and then go down an elevator, up, all this shit. So I'm going up an escalator, and I hear someone yo, Drew, and I'm who fucking knows me out here? And I turn around. It was Eddie, and it was crazy. And so, me and him reconnected, and, we've been kicking it. We watched some of the finals together and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so crazy story.
We gotta talk to Eddie too, man. Because tell him I'll do next year's schedule release video.
Oh,
yeah, because those things, the Chargers have been kicking our ass. They've been kicking the whole NFL's ass on them because when they release a schedule, they do that little thing. And I was man, the last two years, the Raiders has been not a very very eventful one. I was they don't take it that serious, but I'm I'll take it serious. I'll fuck it. But no, you were talking about that too, about how back then with the agents and stuff like that. Now it seems super restrictive because I think they just handed down some penalties for tampering. The Atlanta Falcons got in trouble for tampering with Kirk Cousins because Kirk's there now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the whole situation with that, but I mean, it definitely seems a little fishy.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, and then what? And then what is? It's so crazy because where is the line? Because what is tampering? Because I mean, are they going to start telling players, hey, you can't be texting other players to try to come, or the Josh Jacobs trying to text Devontae?
I mean, there's a lot of hypocrisy in a lot of this, and it's just a slippery slope at a lot of different things. Like we were talking about before we went on, I think that there's a lot of, the NFL is so on these guys. You see guys getting indefinite suspensions or suspended for a year for gambling, but some of their biggest partners are Caesars. Caesars Palace has the naming rights to the Saints Stadium.
Oh, really?
And every time you watch a game, 3/4 of the commercials are the MGM gaming app or FanDuel or DraftKings or this and that, and to me that's very hypocritical when you're so on these guys. For example, right? They can't even make a bet on an app, if they're in the locker room afterwards putting on their shorts, getting ready to go out to their car, but they can drive off of that parking lot, pull into the gas station across the street and make that same bet, and it's not a big deal.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Which I understand, what they're trying to do. I don't think that any of these guys should be betting on anything as it relates to the sport because it creates such a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And, you bring into question the integrity of the game. But at the same time, I don't think that the NFL should be able to make billions of dollars with these gaming entities then too.
Yeah, because it seems like they're in bed with each other. It was
Big
funny.
time.
There was it a meme or something like that where they were brought to you by FanDuel, the such and such cast.
Oh, yeah.
All this stuff, and it was and we're here to report that is in trouble for gambling.
I mean, it's crazy.
And there was another thing too about the NFL about the gambling thing too, or not the gambling thing, but just the NFL right now with the lawsuit with the Sunday Ticket and how that's crazy because I bought ticket last year, which I never bought the ticket before. I usually just would all the Raider games have been I'd either go to them or I'd catch it on TV because I don't want to go to the primetime ones every now and sometimes. Yeah, but I get it, dude, because they're talking about how they spent you have to when I did have the ticket last year. I bought it off YouTube. And I also noticed that there were some games I couldn't watch, and I was like, "How come I can't watch the Cowboy and the Eagle game?" It was an important game, and I couldn't watch it. And
Division
I was
rivalry.
and I couldn't watch it. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I'm paying for all this stuff, and then now how it's so dispersed on every broadcast. I mean, Netflix got one this year.
To me, it's just like a level of greed that it's just like, when's enough, right?
Yeah.
It's like, at some point it's going to price a lot of people out. The economy sucks right now, and you got people working multiple jobs just to put food on their tables and things. And so now you want to beat people over the head with, you got to have an Amazon Plus subscription, you got to have a Netflix subscription, now you got to do the YouTube thing too, and then you got to do this, like.
And then maybe we might have
just
broadcast.
Put together an inclusive package. Make it what it is, and let people enjoy the game.
I didn't even realize that. I totally forgot that Monday Night Football is not on regular TV. It's on ESPN.
Right.
I totally forgot about it because I grew up with it always being on. My affiliate was ABC.
or whatever.
On Channel 13 up in Sacramento. But now I'm like, oh, that's right. Like Monday Night Football isn't on regular television. It's on cable now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's great. That's right. So you have to have the ESPN subscription. But then ESPN's like,
you want ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
You want to hear the Manning brothers.
Yeah, it's insane. It's you're right. They're beating the head, taking too much money, and then on top of that too, like I mean, right now it seems like they're in a lot of they definitely have a ton of money, but they're in a lot of hot water too. Well, the Gruden thing got dismissed or something like that.
I hope Gruden goes after them and crushes them.
Yeah, me too. I'm a big
because I like Gruden a lot. First off, I think he's an incredible coach. Mm-hmm. Especially as it pertains to quarterbacks. But I also think what they did to him is bullshit. You want to try? I'm so fucking tired of this PC bullshit. We're going to try to go dig up emails from 10 years ago. That. It's stupid.
He didn't even work for the NFL at the time.
No, he's emailing. What was he emailing? He was emailing his brother Jay, right?
Yeah,
because Jay was a coach for the Redskins. Dan Snyder was really trying to cover his ass.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just like, stop looking for things to get outraged about. Mm-hmm. Stop looking for things like you ran one of the best coaches of the league out of the business, and then on top of that, the special teams coach that y'all hired,
Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah, he was a great coach.
Yeah.
And they didn't even give him a chance. They just brought in McDaniels. I will say AP is that dude, though.
Yeah, he is. I'm so happy that we got him, and I don't even care whether or not he does good or not. I'm just like, we needed that attitude. We needed that fresh.
Alpha.
Dude, and the thing, and I needed someone to give a fuck about the Raiders culture or the Raiders history. Because what really pissed me off about McDaniels is they played that against Pittsburgh, and it was like the 30th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, which wasn't a catch. But and they said they lost, and that was after they lost double digits again. I think that was another game that they lost. They were up by double digits and lost. And he was kind of like, oh, yeah, I heard about it. I know something about
He was real loyal to the Patriots. And he even came out someone said something about the Patriots. He's like, you don't talk about the Patriots like that.
Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce. He was like, we beat the. How do you think because we believed? And he was like, hey man, don't you ever do this? And then they heard that, and then I think that was, and then because they played Detroit next, and they lost, and he got fired on Halloween night. I was so happy.
I'm just so glad that a guy like AP, who's actually you could tell that, again, I grew up a Giants fan. I can remember AP when we won Super Bowls, right? And so, when you have that kind of a guy in the locker room, a true leader of men, you're going to see it this year.
Yeah, because it was Justin Tuck and Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, man, Tuck, Pierce, OC, Strahan.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man. I mean, you talk about that's Super Bowl 42 to me is the greatest Super Bowl ever played.
Dude, it was so great. So I was at that time. It was funny because I was listening to Stern, and Artie's a big
God, he's fallen off.
Yeah, he is a big Giants fan, and he apparently he made a bet. And,
of course, Artie's a degenerate gambler.
Yeah, he made a bet, and he bet the Giants because it was the year the Patriots were undefeated.
Yeah,
and they were such a low underdog that he put money on the Giants and won. And apparently, the bookie closed down and ran off. Didn't pay him or anything.
That's like the most New Jersey story ever.
Yeah, and so the whole thing with Gruden too, like I said, man, even a lot of his players they're like, he's not racist, dude. Like that's just ridiculous. And he was like, I think
what did he say that they said was racist?
that Gene Upshaw had Michelin lips for tires or tires
No, it
for
was
Michelin.
D. Smith.
And then he called someone gay and then well, because it was so fun. Okay, so this is what's crazy about that. So there was David Chappelle comes out with his special, and he was all talking about how it was a very like. He'd going out after the LGBT community, and then he was like, but no one really goes after, like, when it happens to black people, we're okay with it.
Yeah.
But or we're a little outraged, but then we're okay with it. And he goes, but if once it happens to he called it the alphabet people, then that's when we're all, and it was crazy because that week, they came, John Gruden, they were like, oh, he's racist. But they didn't fire him. And it was like, all right, no. But then they were like, we're going to release more emails. And they did. So they released one where he called somebody the F word, and then so he goes, then they go, we have to fire you now. And it's like, you just proved Dave Chappelle's point. You guys are all upset.
Right.
I was like, that's crazy to me. And then it was just an insane thing because, like you said, yeah, it was Dan Snyder. For people that don't know, because Chase, do you know about that? So Chase is our engineer and stuff like that. So what happens is the Washington Redskins are under investigation for sexual harassment in the organization, and Dan Snyder's the owner, and he's under investigation. So what they do is they have NFL does the arbitration. So they basically have an investigation for themselves, and they check 10,000 emails or whatever the heck back and forth to everybody in the organization and everything like that. And so they're like, hey man, you need to sell the team. So he sells the team, but at one point though, he didn't want to sell the team.
They've been trying to get Snyder to sell the Redskins. Like, I grew up in the area. Mm-hmm. They've been trying to get Snyder to sell the Redskins since he bought them.
Yeah,
he was hated.
He was not liked.
In fairness, he wasn't good at running the team. He meddled too much.
Mm-hmm. And what happened was they go, all right, well. They got all these emails, they got all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they only leak John Gruden's emails.
Right.
That's the only person. And on top of that,
he was the fall guy.
It was 10 years prior to him ever being the Raiders coach because he was just a sports analyst, commentator on Monday Night Football at the time.
Right.
So he was crazy because
had that Hooters endorsement money coming in, Corona endorsement money.
Yeah,
chilling.
And it was crazy because they even said the judge that here in Nevada was like. They were trying to like, hey, the NFL was like, so this is what was happening with the case, Chase. NFL, they're like, hey, we should do arbitration. We want to investigate ourselves and then dole out our own punishment. And
sounds like our government.
Yeah, right. And then so the NFL was like, yeah, we're gonna do that. And then they go to court. And the judge says, no, that's not possible because he wasn't even your employee at the time. And they go, well, we know that, but he does kind of affiliate with, he was an employee at one point. So therefore we have jurisdiction. And they're like, nah, that's not true. So then they said overruled. They're going to have a court, going to have a trial. And the problem is that John Gruden, like he said, he wants to burn it down because in discovery, everything becomes public. So he's like,
yeah, he's going to sue the shit out of
Give me all the emails. I want everything. let's fucking burn it all down.
Yeah.
But then they went to the Supreme Court of Nevada and he got denied. There are three I guess I can't remember if there's 3 or 7 altogether, but I know a couple of them were missing. And they ended up overruling and denying his motion, and now that it's kibosh. But it's crazy because I'm hoping that he does a file to get another rehearing of that because not all of the judges were present. Because that's crazy.
I hope he does too. I hope he sues the shit out of him.
Yeah, it's great because, like you said too, man, it's like a lot of money there, and that whole antitrust thing is getting crazy because they own the product, and now they're going to own all the broadcasting rights, and
right.
I think they're getting in trouble because he's trying to say, well, Goodell is trying to say, well, we're a premier or something. The word they used, our product is a premier product, therefore we should be upcharging for it. And they were like, well, that would be the case if, and it would be, and you wouldn't have any problem with antitrust laws, but you guys had to deal with DirecTV now, and now that's what opens it up because DirecTV.
DirecTV sucks too.
Yeah,
they suck even more because now they're with AT&T.
Oh, they are. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just big conglomerates, these huge billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies, whatever. I mean,
And how is this happening when we had laws in place for antitrust things?
Have you seen our government?
Right. Because
it's a fucking joke.
I heard about this too. I heard, this just happened recently. I want to say it's Sony bought up the Alamo Draft House because they're all shutting down. So now Sony owns them. I want to say it's Sony. Could you if just double check me real quick, Chase? Thank you so much.
Yeah. What am I googling?
Sony buying up Alamo Draft House theaters, which is crazy because you're not supposed to own. Now we're going to go down this hole, this rabbit hole. Back in the day, that's what the studios used to do. They used to own the writers, they used to own the studios,
right.
They used to own the theaters and stuff like that. So they all had a conglomerate on it. And Live Nation is in trouble for it right now.
Yeah. It's the illusion of choice. You're a comedian, George Carlin, I think, is one of the greatest of all time. And, if I could sit down with someone dead or alive, he would definitely be top 5 consideration just because he was so ahead of his time.
Yeah.
But, he would talk about this kind of stuff. It's the illusion of choice. Mm-hmm. You look at all of these huge conglomerates and these people, there's like 6 real companies that really own everything. And when you boil those 6 down, it's really 2.
Yeah.
And it's BlackRock and whatever the fuck the other asshole.
That's funny because I remember that bit too. He's like, "It's the illusion of choice."
Yeah,
there you go. You think you got it, but you don't.
Yeah, he was the best.
It's crazy because, like in Live Nation, if some people don't understand that too, Live Nation is the company that pretty much owns all of the venues that you go see your concerts at, you go see stand up at, and if you've went to a football game or a baseball game or any kind of entertainment, you have probably paid Live Nation's fees, and your ticket sale says $75, but then they charge you $40 for the service fee.
It's a 30% upcharge.
Yeah,
every time.
And they're getting in trouble for that because that's another thing. What they were doing is what they're finding out a lot too is they were getting the artists and they're like, okay, well here you're doing our venues. We're
only booking you at our venues.
We're only going to book you at our venues, and we're gonna. You don't get any hot dog money, any of the concessions.
That's crazy to me.
At all. The merch you sell, most of the time, they're like, we're going to take a percentage of that because you sold it on our property, and now we're going to pay you this much to do the tour. This is what your expenses for the tour, and that's it. On your ticket sales, you have to sell such and such in order to make a profit because we already own you too as well.
Yeah, so it's like how the record labels used to do. People, you go in debt.
Yeah.
And that's why people used to go on the road because there was so much money. That's how bands would really make it because they would sell tickets. I worked in the music side of things too. And so we used to do like 85-15 splits. So you would get part of like alcohol sales and food sales and stuff like that. And the merch, typically you got 100% of the merch.
Yeah.
Because typically these people, the bands, the artists, they print them and they do them themselves.
They're bringing it out. They're lugging it. They're tearing down the stand and all that shit. And that was the thing too. Like with the Live Nation, they were saying to this that they have to sell them a certain amount of tickets in order to make a profit or for them to take home. And they were like, the problem is that all of a sudden Live Nation would have, hey, we're doing a summer sale where all tickets are 2 for 1 or 50% off.
The $25 ticket.
Yeah, just because they want to get your people into the facility to buy their hot dogs and their
$20 cocktails,
all that, and they're killing you on both sides. So basically, the entertainer's getting probably maybe 20% of their own work and their own effort, and it's crazy. And they're starting to notice that. And the only reason that got brought up was because the government's not getting their taste.
Right. Well, that's why, so I leave on Thursday. I'm going down to Mobile. We're going this weekend to see Kid Rock and Jason Aldean. They're doing their Rock the Country tour. Mm-hmm. And those guys kind of bucked the system. They've done all the ticket sales themselves and everything like that. And they made it pretty affordable. And like Kid Rock's done that in the past. I remember when Jay-Z and Beyonce were doing a tour and Timberlake was doing a tour. It was like those were the 2 biggest summer tours. Mm-hmm. And Kid Rock was doing like, you can get 4 lawn tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 Cokes, and then 4 coffees when you leave in case you get shit-faced, you can sober up for like $100.
Yeah.
And like I think artists got to kind of take a stand a little bit more and like bring back like the smaller venues. Like my favorite place out here is the Fremont Country Club downtown and Backstage Bar and Grill. Like We saw Green Day there.
Oh, shit.
We got in there. That was a free show. It was like the radio put it on or whatever. We did that, and that was awesome. But like those small room shows, bring that shit back.
Yeah, the intimate venue, that was the best.
Man. So I'm a big metalhead. I like everything, but I'm a big metal guy. And I recently went to Seven Dust and Static X, but it was at the Palms. And the Palms is cool, good venue. I've seen Marilyn Manson there and stuff, but like put Seven Dust at backstage.
Yeah.
Do it in a room of like 1,000 people, and the people that are going to be there, they'd pay $50 to go see them. The artist is going to see more of that money. It's going to be a more intimate show, and like everyone's going to rock out.
Those shows are so cool too, man, because it's like you can feel the vibration in your chest from the music. Oh, they're the best, dude. It's so crazy because like I grew up in that kind of era as well, like because I'm from Northern California, so it's like
Korn, Papa Roach.
Papa Roach is from down the street. Yeah. Oh, dude, man, and we would go like there was a venue in Sacramento or in Orangevale called the Boardwalk, and I seen like Coheed and Cambria there.
Oh, yeah.
I seen like I remember when I think Paramore came out and did the Harlows at one point, like these little tiny venues, and they were so sick because after a while it's so intimate that they were like, you know what, we're gonna try a little something out real quick. We're gonna have fun. We just got done doing 5 nights. We're sick of singing this song, so we're gonna do it acoustic or we're gonna slow it down. If you guys like this, we're gonna like this. Blah blah blah. It was so fucking dope.
I used to go to the 930 Club in DC, and like I'm saying, like I was so young, my parents would have to take me and drop me off and pick me up because I didn't even have a driver's license yet. Yeah. But we'd go see like Stained was opening for Seven Dust, and the ticket was $20.
Yeah, and
it was the coolest. It was the like one. I think back on those shows, and like now with Instagram and social media, you get to see, there's videos and shit that comes up from all of those, and like, it'll never be duplicated. Because now you go to a show and every asshole's got their phone up.
Got their phone out, yeah.
It's like, dude, I'm trying to chill. I need that 3 hours to escape from reality. You know what I mean? Like,
that's so crazy. Now you bring it up, I totally forgot. Like, I went and seen Third Eye Blind one time up in San Francisco at American, what is it called? American Hall, American Theater Hall or something like that. But it's a nice small little venue, little upper deck, and even the Yeah Yeahs. I seen them at what the fuck is that place called? There's hella small venues all over San Francisco. Did you find that thing? It was Sony, right? Yeah. Okay, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't wrong and shit. But what else am I gonna tell you too? Or shit, that's so crazy that I totally forgot. And then you're into music too, so fucking that's even more dope.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit, you got me something. I wanted to see this real quick. I wanted to open this on air just to check it out. You got me a gift, and it's so funny because like we were talking about this earlier, how dudes don't really get gifts or anything, and it's just like it's so what the fuck? Because I noticed this too. So Father's Day had just passed, and my girl and her daughter were like, we should do something for your Father's Day, and you got Coop because I have a little English bulldog, and so I'm all like, yeah, and then they go, let's barbecue, and I'm like, yeah, let's barbecue, and so they got a barbecue, and I realized, when they say let's barbecue, that means you barbecue.
Yeah, we'll be inside. You slave over the over the hot grill while it's 110 degrees outside.
Dude, I'm burning my ass. I'm sweating, and I'm like, I don't even fucking want. I could have got Fat Burger. Those are probably better than what I'm gonna make. Let me see. Yeah, so that's just crazy. But I don't even know how to open a gift. Look how fucking horrible I am. Oh, that's fucking. I wanted one of these too, dude. This is awesome. Oh, hell yeah. I got a Las Vegas Raider hat. There's a Raider hat, too, yeah?
Yeah. So Residency is a company I'm a small owner in, and it's more of like a lifestyle brand, but that's definitely the Vegas Residency hat. I got one on too. Mine's the all-black joint. Yeah. But I knew that you were a Raiders fan, so hell yeah. My guy Zach King, who's the primary owner of Residency, I told him I was coming on here, and he wanted to send that and hook you up. So
fuck yeah. I seen rocking one of these too. Crosby.
Crosby does. AP has. You get a lot of people on the Raiders. Derek Carr used to all the time. Yeah. Trent Williams, a lot of the 49ers. We just did a collaboration with the San Jose Sharks that sold out in like an hour. We're doing some stuff with the Tennessee Titans. A lot of things. So, yeah, I had to shout out my guy, Zach King. Zach's one of the nicest guys that I know. Owns a local Cuban chain out here called Cubanidad. The best Cuban food I've ever had in my life. Try the 305 sandwich if you live in Vegas or if you visit Vegas. Yeah. Best sandwich in town. No, like
305. Is that the what is that? 305. Why does that sound so familiar?
Well, that's the Miami area code. So Zach's from Florida, but So that's their signature Cuban sandwich over at Cabanadad, and it is incredible.
Okay, I'll go fuck with that. I'm of course love food, especially out here. All kinds of shit to eat. But yeah, we're trying to figure something else out to grab.
They just opened up a third one on Sahara. There's an express one on Fort Apache, and then the big one is out on Eastern and Henderson.
Yeah.
So,
dude, thank you so much, man. I'm
glad that you
stoked.
like it.
Yeah, I needed a hat today too because my haircut guy, he was not in town. It was funny because I saw about how I see Max Crosby wear this hat. So funny story. I had just moved out to Vegas, and the Raiders had just come here too, or whatever, whatnot, and but you couldn't buy Raider gear yet that said Las Vegas,
Right.
And so I'm at the gym and I seen this dude and he had a Raider hat and it was spelled in like the 90s font. And it said Las Vegas. And I was like, dude, that's a sick ass hat, bro. I was like, fuck, man. I was like, where'd you get that? And because I can't find anything that says Las Vegas. It's the licensing. And
Yeah, I
stuff
remember
like
at the time you couldn't get anything.
and then the dude was just kind of chill, and he was just kind of like, yeah, nah, man. I go, where'd you get it? And he was like, I don't even remember. I was like, that's cool, it's cool. I get it. You can't tell me you don't want to tell me. And then, like, it didn't even dawn on me because I was so checked out on the hat. And, when I'm in the gym, I don't really pay attention too much. I'm just kind of, like, in my head. And
Do
then
your thing, yeah.
And then he took off. And then, like, after a while, I realized, I go, wait, that motherfucker looked hella familiar. Like, who the fuck was that? I go, he looked hella familiar, and I just couldn't place it. And then I'm driving, and I go, I was talking to Max Crosby. I go,
I love Max Crosby. I think he's the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah, he's great. He's my favorite. He's my favorite by far because my girl's a Niner fan, which is funny, and I'm a Raider fan, and so I watch like Wi-Fi Willie. I watch this other hood commentary and a couple other cats that I just get the information because I just I love watching that shit, and I got her into it, and so she's like da 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 da, and I showed her. I was like, she's like, who's your favorite player of the band? I was like, dude, we got to watch it, and so I made her watch Hard Knocks, and I go,
terrific show.
This is where I first seen him because he was a rookie on Hard Knocks, and he breaks his hand. And he still plays. He breaks his hand. He's trying to make the team, and he still plays, and it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, because he was a 4th round pick, I want to say,
on a preseason game.
Yeah,
that's such.
Hey man, he's got the dog in him, and I don't know if you've seen him, but he's been training with Kobe and Michael Jordan's trainer too.
Yeah, well,
he wants it. He wants to win.
Yeah,
and he's like Raider. Yeah, he wants to. He embodies that Raider, like we were talking about. Like,
yeah.
He loves being a Raider. Like, you can tell. Like,
dude, I watch his podcast. I'll throw that on too.
Yeah.
And I like watching his podcast when like I work out because like he always brings on other players and fools that are about it. Like really have that mentality of like, I'm tired, but I got to keep going.
Yeah,
and I got to
be great,
dude. And the way he's got that whole defense all reacting to, and I just watched the one with Nate Hobbs and how they talk too, and how they're just like, I'm not even playing against anybody. I'm playing against my own mind, my own self to get better. Like, yeah. And just that whole mental fortitude. I'm sorry.
Now that they got Wilkins to put next to him,
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
And that was another thing too. So I'm teaching my girl because she watches football, and I like that about her. And it's just because she was already into it, but. She watches it like how I used to watch it when I was a kid. It's like, where it's like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen, as opposed to like spotting defenses and knowing because she kept hearing she was like, what's the box? Well, I keep because they were saying like, all you got to do is stack the box against Garoppolo. She's like, what is that? And then you got to make them run. And I started showing her. I was like, this is the box, and the 8 guys are in there, and this is the line. This is the 3-4 defense. This is the 4-3 defense. And a lot of it I learned off Madden, but then like
it's funny. A lot of like our generation. So I'm 40. Mm-hmm. So our generation, I feel like you're my age, right?
42. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people learned different schemes and stuff playing video games. I remember our coaches when I played baseball, they would tell us like go play the baseball video games and see like what they're doing like in the games and stuff when you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And like baseball is like a lot less intricate in terms of schemes and stuff than football. But you got to figure. Between YouTube and video games and stuff, a lot of these kids are learning it like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because she's a fan now. Or like now she's a fan of like the game of just like the game. So now she can watch other games of just not only her own team but other ones because then we start predicting. And it turns into that. It's like so what do you think right now, babe? What do you think they're gonna do? And she's like, it's got to be a sweep because it's like there's too many on this side. They're overloading. I was like, the fucking overloading. This place is so hot. And then speaking of the Niners and stuff like that, did you see the Brandon Ayuk shit?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think about that?
I mean, in what sense? Like, about, do I think that he's going to go to Washington, or do I think like?
Yeah, because like so okay, this is just how we watch the game now. Different. I mean, you probably watch because I'm starting to get into the whole money aspect of the game, and like I'll go on websites now and on the off season and be like, well, what's the contract look like, and can we keep them?
Right.
And can we
I think that overall the average fan now is a lot more educated on that kind of stuff and pays a lot more attention to it. Look, so Ayuk turned down $26 million a year, and a lot of people, $26 million a year, but like you have to think about a lot of different things. Like, San Francisco is a shithole,
yeah,
and it's not safe, it's not clean, but also your money doesn't go as far up there. When you get all the bullshit California taxes, what's that look like after that per year?
And then on top of how expensive it is already just to live there.
That's what I'm saying. So like when you factor in like, you got to live somewhere safe because they're going to know that you have money.
Yeah.
And it's the Bay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got San Francisco and Oakland, and so you got to live somewhere safe.
Yeah.
But then you're paying all the California taxes and federal taxes. And so by the time that $26 million isn't $26 billion. No. It's really probably half that, or probably maybe even a little less than half of that.
A quarter of it, yeah.
And so I don't blame him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I tell guys all the time, I want you to come play in Vegas. I want you to play in Texas. I want you to play in Florida. I want you to maximize your earning potential.
You tell your boy, your guys, yeah.
Like, if it was up to me, like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see guys play ball, first and foremost. Like, I don't care where they play.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I had the choice.
Yes.
Yeah, come play in Vegas where there's no state income tax. Play in somewhere like Texas or Florida where there's no state income tax. Tennessee.
Because what is it? They get like what? Like, because I remember when the Raiders came here, they were like, man, we got 10% or I think 12% more of their check.
Well, I mean,
like
think about that. Yeah, I mean, remember when Derek Carr backloaded his contract and everyone was like, oh, what's he doing? Well, he's going to realize way more money.
When he comes over here.
Yeah.
Boom. And that was another thing too, man. Like, the whole aspect of like that was I was like trying to figure out too because Chandler Jones did his thing and went wayside, and I was like, yeah, man, that sucks. Mental health is important. But did we get some of that money back? Because we got to sign some players, man. Because they gave him a good like 135 mil or something like that.
Well, there's definitely voidable things in your contracts. Acts detrimental to the team, or you know what I mean, like just different things. Like,
explain that. Yeah, explain this to the people. Like,
I mean, look, there's just certain nuances and certain things in the contracts that you can't do. So you remember when Big Ben back in the day was riding a motorcycle and crashed the motorcycle and like almost died? Like, they were going to originally try to go after some of that money because there's like high risk activities that you can't participate in, right? So like, but riding a motorcycle is technically a high risk activity. Just the same, like, bro, you can't go fucking skydiving. We just signed you to a $100 million deal, bro. What if your chute doesn't open? What do you do? Like? So there's just a lot of things, and so a lot of it too also depends how hard the teams want to go at it. Like with Chandler Jones, that guy was obviously having like some real mental health issues, and like how hard do you want to press that? Yeah, and like there's different.
And not look like a asshole or shit. Yeah.
So there's just a lot of different things. I mean, it's like anything, though. There's nuances. There's ways out of things. There's ways to recoup money, and it's just how hard you want to press it.
And then like, and on draft day, because like you watch, apparently, of course, you watch draft day completely different,
right?
From yeah. So how is that? How is draft shit? Not even draft day, like leading up. Like, how is that for you? What does that look like?
So it's crazy. So I tell these guys all the time, man. The draft is a complete crapshoot, right? So like you see it every year, like, oh, this person's number 15 on Mel Kiper's big board. What's he still doing there in the 4th round? Like, well, dude, that's because fucking Mel Kiper, he gets paid by agents. He gets different kickbacks, different things like that. And not to say that these guys aren't good players, but the public also isn't privy to like the medical. Like, so I can remember the linebacker from Georgia that the Eagles ended up taking in the 4th round that was a top 15 Mel Kiper guy. He had crazy medical red flags, and that's why he fell.
Oh, shit.
And there's things like that people aren't privy to. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, that the combine at this point, a lot of that is just for them to poke and prod on the medical side. And that's why you're now starting to get a little bit of pushback from agents and players.
Interesting.
So, but I mean, it's crazy because you just don't know, right? And I tell players all the time when I'm recruiting them, if any agent tells you definitive, like everyone knows who's a guy, right? Like you knew that Caleb was going first overall this year, right?
I really wanted Jaden so bad too here in Red.
Yeah, Jaden's a stud, man. But you knew like Lambeau Leak is going top 10, Marvin Harrison's going top 10. But like I'm talking like once you get out of like the top like 20 guys, right? The draft is a crapshoot because every team grades differently. Every team has different needs, and they also don't all have picks in every round, right? So, like, a team could say, hey, man, we have a third-round grade on your player. All that means is they're not picking them in the first or second round, and the ceiling is the third round. Now, when the third round comes around, let's say it's a corner, right? They may have had an offensive tackle who they had a first-round grade on that slipped to the third round. And so they're going to take him over you, even though they got a third-round grade on you. But now they don't have another pick until the sixth round. Yeah. So maybe you fall to the sixth, or maybe you go to another team, or whatever. It's just there's so many moving parts during the draft that it's like pure chaos.
It's funny because like now I'm like, well, I mean, because like of course I watch the draft, but like I watch it regular, and then and I'm a Raider fan. We haven't had very good drafts, so I'm always like whoever like, and like you said too, the Mel Kipers and all those guys, like, and then the fan base now, which is crazy because of the internet, they're more vocal and you can see them. And I was like, dude, there's a lot of people that don't know shit, and then they're so passionate about how much shit they don't know, but then they're so rude about it as well. And it's like, dude, relax, take it easy. Like,
so I'm gonna tell you right now, the Raiders got obviously Brock Bowers is a steal. Brock Bowers is a great tight end. He could go on to be a Hall of Fame player. I mean, you look at his statistics dating back to him as a freshman, like the guy is an all-world talent, okay? Yeah. But y'all's real steal, Jackson Powers Johnson.
The center.
Yeah, that kid plays. He's such a. I recruited that kid.
Oh, yeah?
I met with his family. They're from Salt Lake. Met with them. They're such good people. That kid, man, he is born and bred to play football.
All right.
Like, man, when I tell you, he can play every position. And he actually plays D-line, too. Most people don't know that. And his dad told me he might actually be better at D-line than he is on offensive line because he likes to hit people. Like, he's like that. Like, he's really about it. And I think that, obviously you guys have a really good center in Andre James.
Yes, yeah.
So Jackson will probably start off as a guard. But, I mean, that kid, I tell you, man, that guy's going to be a 15-year pro.
Yeah.
And all-pro, man. He's such a good football player and such a good kid. Like, he went to Oregon. He's really close with Phil Knight up there. And I don't have enough good things to say about that kid, man. That kid, I thought he was going to go in the first round. I thought for sure Dallas was going to take him because Dallas lost their center to the Redskins. And I thought for sure Dallas or Philly because with Jason Kelce retiring and like with how athletic Jackson is, like now the game has changed. So I really try to focus on offensive line because typically they're not divas. They can have long careers. And I just really identify with those guys more. Most of the time, those guys, they'll go drink a beer with you, hang out, they're chill, like, you know, good guys. And like I said, they can play for a long time. And, man, Jackson is just an absolute dog.
Okay.
He is, like, I'm telling you, like, we'll look back at this after the season. Like, he's the guy.
I'm excited, and like, the guy that I want to see, I can't wait for preseason because I just want to see him in action is the new running back, his name's Duplay or Do something. He's a white running back. And I was
I know from New Hampshire.
Yeah. And what was his name?
Dylan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I don't want to do him a disservice.
Yeah.
But no, he's a player.
I want to check him out because the way, like, I've just seen him on like TikTok or just like when they introduce him, and I'm like, I like his energy. And I was like,
man, and I like to see those small school kids get a shot, because a lot of times the scouts really will like some of these, but they don't want to really like stand up and bang on the table for these guys because if it doesn't pan out, they don't want it to fuck up their job. But like the reality of it is like some of the talent that comes from these small schools, man, it's crazy.
Insane. Yeah. I was going to say, do you go out and scout? Do you go to like college games?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I tried now, social media has been a real blessing in terms of recruiting guys because you used to have to pay some asshole to get a list of phone numbers. Half of them don't work, and all this nonsense like chasing around. Now with like Instagram, you can just message a player directly. And for me, I just try to keep it a buck. My biggest thing is my job is to facilitate information and to be a resource to these guys and help guide their careers. I tell them they're the CEO of their own career, and they're hiring people to help facilitate their brand.
Yeah, on their team. Yeah.
And the biggest thing is, like, they always say the NFL stands for not for long. And you don't know how long your football career is going to be, so you want to be planning for beyond football from day one. And so that's what I try to impress upon these guys. And it's, with social media, now I can just message guys directly, hey, man, my name's Drew Rigsbee. I'm an agent. I'm based out in Vegas. I'd love to get on the phone with you and like learn more about what it is that you're into and see if it's a fit. It's a lot like dating, right?
Yeah.
Because like you may talk, like, for these players, they may talk to 20 agents and all that shit starts to sound the same after a while, right? But it's really about a personal connection. And for me, I really focus on the personal relationship aspect of it all because, like, when you work with someone that you actually care about, you're going to want to go a lot harder for them. You know what I'm saying? And there's a level of accountability in that too. And, a lot of these agents, first off, man, the agent business is shady as fuck. So many of these people are completely full of shit.
Yeah.
And just complete assholes. And so a lot of them, they just see dollar signs with these guys and they look at it as transactional. And for me, man, life is too short. I read something, I gotta pull it up because I don't want to butcher it. But I saw this quote yesterday from Master P, of all people.
It was on your stories, huh?
Yeah. He said, I don't want to do business with people that don't have integrity. I don't want to be in business with people that don't believe in the values I believe in. I don't even want to be in a room with people like that. I just want to be around good people. And I was like, damn, man, like he hit the nail on the head because that's real. Like, these guys, these athletes now are more coddled than they've ever been, first off. They've had people telling them they're great since middle school, and now they get NIL money from schools.
From schools.
Which
what does that stand for? What is
name, image, likeness.
Oh, okay.
Which, I agree that these guys should be getting money because these schools charge crazy tuitions and make money. And, schools like Alabama, those kids are all going to Alabama in part because of the football program.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, those guys, they can't work a job like a normal college kid could. And so they should get a little bit of money. They're generating a shit ton of money for the university. But, the NCAA fucked themselves a long time ago with this because they could have gotten their hands around this and kind of tried to regulate a little bit. Hey, we're going to give D1 guys $50K a year and tax-free money, whatever, and that's going to eliminate. But now it's gotten so out of control. Like, you had the one quarterback that was like committed to Miami, and they were going to give him like $12 million a year. The kid's like 16, 17 years old, hadn't even played a snap. They're like, do you know what? I'd be dead if you gave me $13 million at 17 years old and put me in Miami.
Fuck yeah. Oh, yeah, especially in Miami?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's just crazy. And I also think that it creates a lot of dissonance in locker rooms, because I remember when Bryce Young was still at Alabama, he's making millions, but the guys blocking for him weren't.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's when you start being like, well, hey, man, you show some love, or like, what are we doing here right now?
Yeah, there was I was watching a little like short documentary on Terrell Pryor and how he got in trouble, because he tattoos. Yeah, he got a tattoo, and it was of the Ohio Buckeye thing too, and he traded it for, he wanted a tattoo, an autograph, and he got all fucking in trouble, and it's like, but these kids are making a ton of money, and all they've
always been. So to me, the NIL thing has kind of leveled the playing field. So now it's not like agents sending bags of cash or showing up with a bag man or doing like all the shady shit that goes on. And I have the conversations with guys like this. I tell people all the time, like, I know my value and I know how hard I work and what I can help do. And so I'm never going to compete in terms of paying players to sign them, right? I know a lot of players, like, look, if you're going to go get a top dog, it's going to, maybe you got to give them a line of credit where they can grab a Rolex or something before that, whatever they makes them feel good, right? But like at the end of the day, I'm never getting into a situation where I have to give you money for you to fuck with me, because then it's, the next person just comes along with the bigger bag. You're going to,
Yeah.
And I tell these guys, like, now that you're getting money to play ball and you're getting, like, I always make sure, like any of the guys that I work with, like on the NIL space, that the number one thing is that they have like a tight insurance policy to make sure. So if they were to get hurt, that they're compensated and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm like, look, man, like you guys are getting money now. There's no excuse now. Like, oh, I don't have any money and my mom needed to. Nah, bro. Like you're making more money than most people. Like, a lot of like the guys that are really going to be draft picks, they're getting at least like 100 bands a year, right? If not more. And that's lowballing it. Like walk-ons are getting $50K, like Dion's quoted at saying that.
Oh, that's right.
And so, my thing is like if a person ever comes along and thinks they can buy you,
fuck
yeah, like I'm never gonna play that game. Like, and I just won't do it. And like I was like, look, man, like the reality of it too is like most of these fuckers don't have access to cash like that, where they're just gonna show up with a duffel bag full of cash. So they're gonna like send you taxable income now. So like, oh, cool, they gave you 25 grand. So cool, like 18 of that, your relationship's worth 18 grand. Cool, mine's not. Go fuck yourself. Like,
dude, I gotta have you. Man, I gotta have you back on too, especially when football starts up.
I'd love that, man. Dude, I appreciate you having me on here today.
We'll do picks and shit. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Before we go though, I wanted to say, so who should we be rooting for this season? If for anybody that you got. Who should we be looking out for, for their health and everything?
I've got two offensive linemen in the league: Alec Anderson on the Buffalo Bills and AJ Arcuri with the Rams. I think Alec's competing for a starting spot this year on that line, and I think he probably winds up as their sixth man, and I'm hoping he catches a touchdown as that sixth offensive lineman on a jumbo package. I told him, I said, bro, if you get in that jumbo package and catch a touchdown, look for the nearest Labatt Blues in the stands and Stone Cold Steve Austin that shit. We'll get you a deal with them, for real. And AJ, bro, AJ's 6'7", just massive. Played ball at Michigan State. So his rookie year, he played some on the 53. Last year, he was on the practice squad. I think he gets his opportunity to play some this year. He plays tackle and guard. And I think that he'll compete in – ultimately at the end of the day, I think that if they try to stash him on the practice squad, that another team will take him, because there's only so many big 6'7" guys walking around the planet that know how to do it.
Yeah.
And they're that versatile and everything like that. So
that'll work, man. Well,
yeah.
Once again, man, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Thanks Residency as well for hooking up with the hats.
Yeah, of course.
Fuck yeah, man. And definitely going to have you back on, and we're going to talk more, especially during the football season.
Cool.
Go catch a game, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. What you got? Once again, thanks, man.